How's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest and the greatest gaming news. Today is Saturday, it's the second week of November 2020, and this is Gaming Weekly. Our first story of the day involves some Cyberpunk 2077 news, and no, don't worry, if your yellow box PTSD radar is starting to kick in, this isn't another delay or anything like that. Instead, it's a leak, because GOG Galaxy accidentally the stairs and dropped an achievement list. For those that don't already know what GOG is, it's a digital game launcher. Similar to Steam, only GOG is unique as it also organizes and manages your other games that are installed through your other platforms, such as Steam, Origin, Epic Game Store if you use that for some reason, basically every other platform, including games that are already installed outside of any digital platform service. And by going to Cyberpunk 2077 in the GOG Galaxy launcher, you are able to find these achievements. They are the general types of achievements you'd expect, like finding certain collectibles or points of interest, or doing certain like special takedowns or abilities, and there is even one for shooting an enemy grenade out of the air with a revolver of some sort on some kind of Arthur Morgan stuff. And this isn't the entire achievement list, obviously, or at least I assume, and I'm sure there are many more achievements, and I'm also sure by this point that GOG has taken these achievements down. I don't use GOG though, so I'm not able to verify that for myself. It might still be up there, who knows. I'm sure that this was some kind of oversight though either way, as I don't think you can see the Cyberpunk 2077 achievements anywhere else, although it's been a minute since I've checked over on Steam. Next up, while we're on the topic of leaks, we got a pretty big Outer Worlds leak. Tyler McDurden over on Twitter, creator of the Valve News Network and Nintendo, dropped various assets for the next up-and-coming expansion for the Outer Worlds. We got several different things, from various gun and alcohol bottle assets and designs to loading screen art and even in-game maps. And judging by the overall theme here, this seems to take place on what looks to be some sort of asteroid that has engines attached to it, probably so it can be used as like a makeshift mobile settlement or something like that. You can even see what looks to be a hedge maze right here with some sort of reward or pedestal or something at the end as well. And this entire DLC seems to be themed around Rizzo's various brands of alcohol, which makes me wonder if perhaps we'll be visiting a brewery of some kind in this next expansion. And while this leak isn't confirmed yet, it does look pretty legit in my opinion. So yeah, prepare to get drunk and shoot stuff while yelling profanities at various inanimate objects, but in space! Next up, we got a little bit of that Bethesda Softworks news, as the Deathloop release date may have just accidentally the stairs by none other than Sony themselves. If you head over to the Deathloop listing on the official PlayStation Store's website for New Zealand, you can see right here that according to PlayStation, Deathloop will be released on May 20th, 2021, and this does line up with what most people assumed the release date would be. And this is pretty interesting, as Deathloop is actually a Sony-timed exclusive for 1 year, including Ghostwire Tokyo, another title published by Bethesda. So with that in mind, that lends this potential release date a lot more credibility, as if anyone else other than Bethesda would know Deathloop's release date, it would be Sony. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo may very well be the last Bethesda and Sony exclusives of any kind forever, as Microsoft has recently acquired Bethesda Softworks and all of the various in-game development studios, such as Bethesda Game Studios, id Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, and so on. And that means that potential Microsoft and Bethesda exclusivity is a very real possibility in the future, but only time will tell how that goes one way or another. Next up, we got a little bit more Cyberduck's 2077 release date news, and again, no, don't start freaking out over seeing another yellow box. This isn't related to another potential release date delay. In fact, it's the exact opposite, as 4 days ago somebody tweeted about how the official Cyberpunk Twitter account was quiet for like more than 10 days, and this person assumed that this was a potential sign that the game could get delayed again, which is something a lot of people feel is a very real possibility, myself included at least a little bit. However, the Cyberpunk Twitter account broke that silence by replying directly to this tweet, and doubling down on that December 10th release date by literally adding the release date to the header image of the official Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter page. This is a pretty bold move and does seem to show how confident they are that the game won't be delayed again. However, this very same official Cyberpunk Twitter account also said the game wouldn't be delayed literally a day right before the December 10th delay was announced, so maybe take this with just a little grain of salt. Next up, we got a pretty scary story that thankfully ended up being a hoax. Somebody apparently contacted Ubisoft or the police and claimed that a group of people were currently storming the Ubisoft offices in Montreal, Canada. Apparently, gunmen were said to be taking people hostage and even issued ransom demands. Employees at Ubisoft were hiding under desks and contacting their families, and SWAT teams eventually responded to escort people out of the building, only to discover that this entire threat was a hoax, made by some unknown party from within the Ubisoft office building themselves somehow, or at least so they believe right now. First off, very happy nobody was hurt here and that this wasn't anything serious, but secondly, what kind of sick broken person makes false reports like this? Go on a walk, play a game, or learn how to masturbate or something. Don't potentially put people's lives in danger by mobilizing a highly armed squad of police officers who assume they might be walking into a firefight to respond to this kind of situation. People who make false reports like this get serious prison time, and rightfully so, and that will definitely be how this situation ends up as well. Next up, we got another leak and another Ubisoft story. Only take this situation with a heavy grain of salt, as the story is missing substantial pieces of information required for it to be validated in any way, shape, or form, at least for right now. Over on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, Greenhouse95 made a post saying, "I posted this on the gaming subreddit and it didn't get that much traction, so I'm posting it here. I got that Ubisoft leak and found that this image was in it right here, and after searching for it for a long time on the internet, I couldn't find it. Could that mean that they are going or are planning on doing a remaster of Far Cry 2? And then this is the image in question that Imgur link takes you to. And it does look like the Far Cry 2 map for sure, and definitely a better higher resolution. And if there is a high resolution updated version of the Far Cry 2 map for some reason, you'd expect it to indeed be a sign that the Far Cry 2 remaster is indeed on its way. And while Far Cry 2 is no doubt most likely going to eventually get remastered at some point anyway, as it is one of the best and most unique Far Cry games to date, this leak in itself is very questionable still, as I don't know who Greenhouse95 is or how credible they even are. Also, I don't know what this Ubisoft leak is that they're referring to or why they personally would have received any exclusive access to this leak of any kind, so take the situation with a pretty heavy grain of salt. Next up, we got a story that I covered in full detail in the previous video here in the channel. If you want to know the complete breakdown of this situation, you can watch this video that I put down in the link below or by clicking on screen here, where I break this entire thing down and give you my complete thoughts on this. But this situation happened this week as well, and it's pretty noteworthy, so I wanted to include it real quick in this week's episode of Gaming Weekly. Over on Twitter, Enan Zur, who is a well-known and very skilled composer who made multiple noteworthy game soundtracks for games such as Dragon Age and Fallout, tweeted that they are currently working on a huge orchestra for a massive next-gen game, and many were quick to assume that this might be Starfield, Bethesda Game Studios' next major single-player RPG. However, Todd Howard of Bethesda Game Studios confirmed that they record the soundtracks for their games early on in their development stages, and Starfield has been in development for years upon years now, so that means that this soundtrack is most definitely not for Starfield like some people assume. And that means if it is for Bethesda Game Studios, it's most likely for the Elder Scrolls 6 or some other unannounced Bethesda project, or even Dragon Age 4, as Dragon Age is also in development right now, and in my opinion, I think that's what this is most likely associated with. One way or another though, Enan Zur does great work and his game soundtracks are top quality, so this is good news for some game somewhere. And our last major story for the day, including one bonus story, we got yet another leak. Wow, this episode seems to have accidentally had a theme apparently. This leak source is the UK game retailer called Game. How creative. And Game's online store had a listing for a Pokemon Master Collection that includes updated versions of Pokemon Red, Gold, and Ruby, all updated to support online and Pokemon Home. And this was spotted by a user over on 4chan, so this is one of the few moments we should all thank 4chan for something, and this leak apparently lines up with other recent rumors suggesting classic versions of Pokemon would be released like this. So this leak does seem pretty credible. Hopefully you are ready to do things with Snorlax again, or whatever. And lastly, our bonus story, KFC be dropping those dank memes all over us while we make that Belle Delphine face and try to sell our bathwater for fame, because over on Twitter, they changed that Cyberpunk 2077 yellow pee-pee colored delay game box to a nice thick red, and memed on the Cyberpunk delay by basically saying that a KFC console was delayed or whatever. From that point forward, it gets kind of cringe in my opinion, but I guess anytime brand does anything like this, it does tend to be a little cringe. But this situation is kind of funny, I guess, and did go kind of viral over the last couple of days, so here you go. Yay. That's going to finish up this week's episode of Gaming Weekly. As always, let me know what your favorite gaming news of the week was down in the comments below, even if it wasn't featured in today's video. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn notifications on. And if you want to help the channel grow and stay informed about gaming news, then share this video as well, because that's one of the best ways to help a channel and a community grow. As always, this video is brought to you by the following amazing people, and if you want to get a video shout out like this, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all this and more are down in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when Zer does the soundtrack for each and every one of your future bathroom experiences. Ooh!
It just works.